You've hit play on the Screen Companion, where we'll help you pick something for movie night. Our final subject. And it's our final subject because I know the guy who chose this movie for us tonight is a vindictive dude. And so I didn't want to talk about it too soon because that would just rile him up and he'd be very pissy with the other movies.
I had tentative plans to hate Solo Sunny going in, and it did not disappoint.
In that case, let's wait a little bit longer on talking about Spinal Tap, and instead, let's ask our resident band expert, Andrew, do you know what it's like to bomb on stage?
Well, yeah, it's terrible, dude. It's terrible.
What's your worst one?
Well, it's not like a hilarious bomb, right? It's not like people were throwing tomatoes at us. There was just this one night we had a show, and it was like a 4-hour set. Doing the cover band thing, we usually play like 3 hours. We'll do like 45, 50 minutes and take a break and then come back for another set. And we just do like 3 sets, take piss breaks or food breaks, and then go back. Because that's what usually like establishments want cover bands for, is they want them for like a while. We had a 4-hour set though at this dive bar in San Pedro. And I'm not really a drinker. I was sober that night. Bandmates were getting drunk, and so they were getting sloppy. There was just something off that night. The devil got into me, and I just couldn't play. My fingers were going everywhere. My bass amp speaker blew out, so also I sounded like shit. And so, just an awful night. I remember leaving the gig just so depressed because you sounded bad.
Did you get the sweats?
No, I got the sads, though.
Aww.
It's sad. I felt really badly about myself. Like, after our first set, I legitimately, like, walked out of the bar and had to take a breather away from all the action. Dude, this is going to be a long night. I needed to kind of gather myself.
Oh, man, that early?
Oh, yeah. It was after hour 1 of a 4-hour set. It didn't get better.
Did it at least stabilize?
I didn't get any worse. As the night went on, everyone else was drinking a little bit more. I wish there was a recording of it. With the 4-hour set, it was kind of a weird one too, because there was this guy that wanted to play bass with us. And so I was switching in and out on bass duty with him on a few songs. There were some songs where I just sat back. But they did a cover of the song Tequila. I wish I filmed it because it was a dumpster fire. Like, just a hilarious dumpster fire.
How do you ruin Tequila?
Everyone's pissed drunk.
Okay. That's fair.
We never rehearsed it. It was one of those things where they called it out live, where they're like, oh, we have some extra time, let's do Tequila, because we used to play that years ago. Our sax player just couldn't do it. No one could do it. And I remember one of my bandmates' husbands, he was busting a gut. No support from that man. He was like, dude, that was awful. And he thought it was the funniest thing. And it was. It was a hilarious bomb. As shitty as I played that night, I can at least hold my head up high that I was not involved with Tequila. I could at least watch that and be like, oh, okay, like, we're never playing here again. And you know what? We haven't played there since.
I want to attest to Andrew's expertise on the instruments. I went to a show of his in North Hollywood some years ago. It was a very small venue, but compared to a larger size, I think I like the small ones more because the energy is more palpable. The band is 10 feet from you at points, so it really feels like a communal experience. The band Film Speed was there, and I talked to the singer after they performed. It was a very cool night. He was cool. I met Andrew's parents. I had to nod my head like, yes, this tracks for me.
What, my folks?
Yeah, that Andrew is their spawn.
It's pretty obvious, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, you know how sometimes you meet somebody's parents, you go, whoa, wait a second, you guys are related? How did this happen? But no, Andrew's parents, I only got to interact with them briefly because for the most time, the band's playing, being very respectful, getting into it. They seem very upright, and there was a dignified cool that I recall about your dad. I say it that way because there's some folks, there's a line there, and on one side of the line, there's that upright vibe that is square and boring, negative in some way. But on the other side of that line was your dad. Like, he was upright, but also he seemed very personable, easy to talk to. All we had to say is, who's this guy? Oh, you know my son? That's cool. And darn it, Andrew, they look so proud of you up there.
Aw.
I know, yeah. They go to as many shows as they can, and it's always been nice.
But when they look like such a white picket fence couple, John, it is pretty funny to see them in certain areas with certain bands just playing hard rock. They're there by the bar, tapping their feet, smiling. I don't know if I'd really imagine you guys would be into this, but you don't seem to hate it. That's cool.
I guess it's a brag, but not like my parents both had, they both had good taste in music. My dad was, after his Navy days, was like a super big hippie and was just like all into like the psychedelic music, that side of the rock scene. And then my mom used to go to like a lot of concerts back when they were like really affordable. And my mom's seen like Elton John and Queen, and she's seen Chicago a lot. I think she's seen Zeppelin. Every once in a while still she'll tell a story of like, oh, I remember seeing this band. I'm like, wait, well, you saw them too? They can listen to the music and enjoy it, even though it may not look like it's their speed. They're open-minded people. That's the good thing.
Obviously, because they welcomed me with open arms.
Well, I mean, they're also not assholes.
Well, I guess I can't delay it any longer, folks. Our final subject. This is Spinal Tap. John, what's the movie about? If you can call it a movie.
Damn you. Damn you to hell. This is not going to end well for you. Even if I'm nice this whole time, the viewers are going to abandon you as a human.
You're on so many episodes, John. I win either way. If they're with me, well, then they'll keep listening. If they're with you, they'll keep listening.
Okay, I guess. All right. This is Spinal Tap. Is about filmmaker Marty DiBergi. Documents the North American tour of English band Spinal Tap as they celebrate the release of their second album, Smell the Glove.
Wait a second. Damn, I didn't realize that was only Spinal Tap's second album? Are you sure?
I feel like they said somewhere that their first album did not sell well.
They referenced a few albums, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe that was their second album as Spinal Tap, because when they do that short intro about how they met, like they had been under different names.
They were in another band, and then became the Originals, but there was a band called the Originals, so they became someone else. But then the Originals changed their name, so they're like, maybe we should go back to that, and eventually they decided on Spinal Tap.
Yeah, and hilarity ensued.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to all our listeners across a multitude of platforms like Podbean, YouTube, and Amazon Music, and a variety of countries such as the UK, Brazil, Germany, and Australia. Further support the host by purchasing his sci-fi novels, Traversal, The Weight of Worlds, and Self-Recognition, available on Amazon.com in both digital and print formats. For a certain segment of the audience, they know this movie already, and I definitely knew it by reputation growing up. I've seen it referenced in other stuff. Again, because I watched a lot of Behind the Music, I've heard rock bands reference Spinal Tap and how amazingly accurate some of the scenes were to their actual touring lives. But I'd never actually watched it for some people, it is on that same level as a Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Why do you think that there's a certain segment of society that holds this movie in such high regard?
Hey, it's just funny. But, like...
debatable.
Like you mentioned earlier about rockers always mentioning it, Ozzy Osbourne's been quoted to saying that he didn't know it was a mockumentary, and he was saddened by the whole thing because of how real it was. Edge from U2 said something similar. It's like that hidden gem. People love Christopher Guest in those types of movies. Best in Show, A Mighty Wind.
Yeah, the people that like those will like this.
Because of the age, I think this is one of the older ones, so it becomes a hidden gem.
Andrew, let's play a game. There is one moment in this film that genuinely had me tickled, and I laughed a little bit. What moment do you think that was?
Okay. Okay, was it a meant-to-be-funny moment, or was it you recognize someone from a Bond movie moment?
No, it was meant to be funny. Although that does bring up a good point of what was meant to be funny, or what did they think was funny, versus what wasn't actually funny. But anyway, no, real moment they wanted you to laugh at.
I'm going to say the Stonehenge thing, the miniature Stonehenge.
Okay, you're right. But there are a few levels to that scene. There's them talking about it, and how... what's Christopher Guest's character's name?
Nigel Tufnell.
So he draws the little sketch, and immediately I recognize that he wrote the inches symbol. There's that aspect of it where they're talking about it leading up to it, and you can tell it's already going to be a disaster. But then there's when they're actually playing it. What really clinched it for me was the little people dancing around the Stonehenge. It was right after this 18-inch model hits the floor, and then it was this culmination of the band turning around, and at first they're looking at least eye level or above, and then they look down and they see it, coupled with, were they elves? Were they supposed to be elves?
I think leprechauns.
Dancing around this tiny little Stonehenge. And I think why I loved it so much was because it was real visual gag. Whereas I feel like so much of the movie relied on this Ricky Gervais extras, embarrassing moment type of humor, where just the humor's supposed to be coming from how uncomfortable it's getting. But then this was a solid visual gag, and I loved it. And that lasted for about 20-30 seconds, and then I went back to sitting through the movie. John, what was your favorite moment?
Also Stonehenge. I think I am liking more and more that you didn't like it, that it was a problem for you, because good. Fuck you.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it just that whole scene, Michael McKean, David St. Hubans, angrily yelling, this isn't his fault, he doesn't know how this works. It's supposed to be 18 feet tall, not in danger of being crushed by a dwarf.
I do not for one think that the problem was that the band was down. I think that the problem may have been that there was a Stonehenge monument on the stage that was in danger of being crushed, all right? That tended to understate the hugeness of the object.
I really think you're just making a much too big a thing out of it.
Making a big thing out of it would have been a good idea.
Nigel gave me a drawing that said 18 inches, all right?
I know he did, and that's what I'm talking
whether
about.
he knows the difference between feet and inches is not my problem. I do what I'm told.
But you're not as confused as him, are you? I mean, it's not your job to be as confused as Nigel is.
It's my job to do what I'm asked to do by the creative element of this band. And that's what I did.
The
Come on.
audience were laughing.
So it became a comedy number.
Yes, it did. Yes, it well did, and it was not pleasant to be part of the comedy on stage. Backstage, perhaps it was very amusing.
How about you, Andrew? What was your favorite moment?
This is the first time I've seen this actually all the way through. I remember years ago I started it, and I was like, oh, I'll get back to it, and I just never did.
Did you hear that, John?
He got back to it.
It wasn't anything where I was like, oh, this looks awful. Maybe I had to go do something or something, but...
Yeah, because anything was more important.
I don't know why I thought them talking about Saucy Jack was so funny. It's like, oh, we'll do that Jack the Ripper album, Saucy Jack, and then it's just
Saucy Jack.
As far as the songs, Andrew, do you have a favorite that you could delve into a little bit as to the mechanics of it, what makes it so alluring?
It's a really tough one because they had these were honestly like some pretty good songs. I like that kind of hair metal sound, like their first concert scene. I don't know if it was supposed to be about doing a fat woman or doing her in the butt, but there's something so funny about that to me.
Yeah.
I think I wasn't expecting it to be as crude as it was. It's an R-rated movie, so I knew it was going to be a little, had to be risque at points. It reminded me of Steel Panther, if you guys have heard of them.
Yeah.
I've seen them live a few times. It's funny, and it just reminded me of them. It was nice that song played so early because it did set the tone. I loved all the concert moments because the songs were good on top of being funny for what they were. The Stonehenge song, really, I don't remember anything super funny about the words to it, but just that kind of making fun of the high art aspect of rock and prog, especially at that point, was just really funny. And then they had that was a great gag. Well, I did like the leprechauns dancing around it, but I remember when the sculptor made it, and then you just see how small it is. And he goes like, "What the hell is this?" He goes, "Well, you gave me this napkin," and then it's just it was just the funniest thing. The Stonehenge thing was such a great gag.
I'm not surprised that musicians would dig this a lot more because it does seem to tap into a lot of tropes within music and all their spoofs, because they do 60s, 70s, prog rock and heavy metal. I did appreciate the way they included the songs, because like Llewyn Davis, these songs are being played on stage, it's all diegetic, and I don't know if it really just comes down to I like the music more in Spinal Tap. I don't want to say that's the only reason I liked the music and how it was integrated in this picture more than I did Llewyn Davis. John, can you add to perhaps why the music was better situated in this? Or do you think so compared to Davis?
In Davis, it was just the music, whereas in this, it's the music, but then there's also the sight gags. There's the, oh, look how tiny Stonehenge is,
yeah.
Or they were in those pods, and Harry Shearer got stuck in his pod and couldn't get out. Or when Nigel Tufnell did the whole lean back thing and couldn't get up.
I forgot about that. That was good.
Yeah, he needed God, come help me. It's more than Llewyn Davis. Llewyn Davis has really good folk songs. Then this has, like Andrew said, the good hair metal songs on top of visual gags. It's working more.
As much as you're listening to the songs and the performance, they played and sang that stuff, didn't they, John?
Actually, I think they released a real album.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I feel like they've toured together, haven't they?
Probably. I've definitely seen them on... they've played Conan a few times.
Yeah, they've played as that band, as those characters, right?
Yeah.
They pretend to be those people. Big respect to them for that.
They were doing this before the movie.
Oh, really?
There was a sketch comedy thing. I'm on their wiki right now. Spinal Tap first appeared in 1979.
Oh, whoa. Let's not delve too much into Wikipedia.
Oh, why not?
Because anybody who's old enough knows you should not be citing Wikipedia for your research.
I'm going to rewrite the last bit of the article just to call you a fanny.
I'm a big bottom.
How can I leave this behind?
The point I was originally making about the music and how it is different from Davis is that thanks to John hashing this out with me. So yeah, you're listening to the music, but you're also you're really focused on what's happening around the music. The funny stuff happening with the band. The crowd's getting smaller and smaller. the venues they're actually playing at, as opposed to, I think, Llewyn Davis, it was really focused on the song and the camera's on the performer. At least for me, I wasn't thinking too much about, oh, he's in a studio doing this, or he's at a dive bar. I think that helped its success, the integration of the music into it. As ridiculous as this movie is, Andrew, were there any scenes that you think accurately portrayed what it's like to play on stage or be in a band? Did any of it speak to your experiences?
It's funny how, not necessarily accurate because it's very over the top and silly, but there's like truth in the humor. I've never had any hilarious technical issues, but sometimes, you just have really bad technical issues on stage and it can really throw you off. It messes with your performance. So like the scene where the guitar radio receiver was broadcasting over the song is just like one of those technical issues I was kind of like, oh, not that I've been exactly there. The whole dial it up to 11 thing, there's always someone who wants to go louder and louder and louder. So the fact that they have custom 11 amps, and it's also the attitude and the way sometimes they speak. To stay on the dial it up to 11 thing where Rob Reiner is trying to be like, hey, well, why don't you just have the amp made to where 10's the loudest you can go, and then you just keep it on 9 and dial it up to 10. And Nigel's just like, but it's 11. It's like, that's all that matters. The volume of it. Some people play like that. It has a lot of truth behind the humor. It's itself dialed up to 11.
It's pretty.
Yeah, I like it. Just been fooling about with it for a few months now. Very delicate.
It's a bit of a departure from the kind of thing you normally play.
Yeah, well, it's part of a trilogy, really, a musical trilogy that I'm doing in D minor, which I always find is really the saddest of all keys, really. I don't know why, but it makes people weep instantly to play a... It's a horn part.
It's very pretty.
Just simple lines intertwining. Very much like I'm really influenced by Mozart and Bach, and it's sort of in between though. It's like a Mach piece, really.
What do you call this?
Well, this piece is called Lick My Love Pump.
Something across all three of these movies, the performers themselves, and perhaps the implication of musicians at large, they don't paint them flatteringly in all three of these movies. And sure, you need to inject some drama into it or heightened reality because it's not real, it's a movie. Do you think there's any validity, or on the other side, is there a negative perception of people that play music for an audience or that want to quote-unquote make it?
I can understand having some level of a negative reaction to it. Viewing it negatively if it means that they'll do anything to make it. I guess the whole idea of selling out. Spinal Tap wasn't happy that their original album cover wasn't used because of how obscene it was, and they're like, oh, well, look at this new cover, and they were upset about that. And I know with Llewyn Davis, he did really like the purity of the folk music, to where when they were doing the recording session for Please Mr. Kennedy, when he's just like, dude, who wrote this song? Because you could tell he just thinks it's crap, and he's just doing it for a paycheck.
Well, in Spinal Tap, they were painted as being stupid.
But they were. But that's,
So it's like if you're Van Halen and you watch this movie, actually, I think they enjoyed the movie, if I recall some of their interviews. If you're a band like them and you watch Spinal Tap, I could see possibly the band members going, well, geez, if there's any parallel between us and them, it doesn't really make us look good to the public at large.
It doesn't in a way, but it's good to laugh at. Like with Llewyn Davis, it wasn't really, he was an a-hole, and anytime you laughed at him for getting what he deserves, it's because he deserved it. And then with Spinal Tap, you're seeing these guys who are over the hill and out of touch and they are, but they're also dumb, and it seems like they're fairly, at least at one point, were wealthy, and so there's kind of like that aspect of idiots being the objects of the joke. The bread gag when he was trying to make the sandwich. And Ian was telling Nigel that, like, hey, just fold the meat and it'll fit on the little bread. And then Nigel was just like, yeah, but when I fold the bread.
Wow, you reacted to that scene the complete opposite of how I reacted. I think the universe took all my joy for the movie and gave it to Andrew.
I think you're just dead inside.
I think I'd rather watch Andrew watch the movie than watch the movie.
It's the fact that he couldn't not fold the bread. It was like so stupid. And who doesn't like to laugh at people who are that dumb, you know? It makes their misfortunes funnier because it's also them just being dumb that's the unfortunate thing for them sometimes. The guy wanted a sandwich, but he didn't know how to make a sandwich. The guy doesn't know what the symbol of inches is, so they got stuck with that Stonehenge. We're laughing at their own stupidity biting them. I think that's what makes it okay.
After I finished Spinal Tap, I was scratching my head a little bit in that, hey, I've known you guys for a while. People listening at home have known me through this podcast for a few years now. I can appreciate stupid humor. Something like Black Dynamite, very stupid movie, I really dig it. And yet, for some reason, Spinal Tap wasn't connecting with me. Rightly or wrongly, after giving it some thought, I think what it comes down to, most of the movie, the dialogue, it feels improvisational. It feels like they take 5 minutes to do a joke that could be done in 2 because they're just riffing. I think when I start to smell extraneous material, that's when I turn against something. Maybe if they re-edited this and cut 20 minutes out of it, I'd dig it more. I'm not quite sure. John, in what way would you like to indict what I just said?
It's already a short movie. I think you just don't appreciate the breathing moments as much as it takes. I don't know. Just sounds like you're a horrible person.
Let's see if I can give you a scene that maybe we can both agree wasn't particularly strong or funny. Toward the beginning, they're all in a stretch limo. You got the driver who's talking to them.
Excuse me. Are you reading Yes, I Can?
Yeah. Have you read it?
Yeah, by Sammy Davis Jr.?
Yeah.
You know what the title of that book should be? Yes, I Can, if Frank Sinatra says it's okay. Because Frank calls the shots for all those guys. Did you get to the part yet where Sammy's coming out of the Copa, and it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he sees Frank. Frank's walking down Broadway by himself.
And then the window goes up because they don't want to hear him talking anymore. Rob Reiner is sitting in the passenger seat up front with the driver.
Fucking limeys.
Well, you know, they're not used to that world.
Yeah,
Frank Sinatra, it's a different world that they're in.
You know, it's just people like this, you know, they get all they want, so they don't really understand, you know, about a life like Frank's. I mean, when you've loved and lost the way Frank has, then you know what life's about.
I'm sure you remember that scene, John. Did you think that was funny?
Eh.
Thank you, I'll take it.
It's not a full-on, it wasn't not funny. I'll agree that of the bits, it was probably one of the least funnier. Because it just, all they talked about was Frank Sinatra, who is not particularly funny.
Okay, like I don't need every bit of dialogue in a comedy to be funny, or ostensibly a comedy to be funny. But if it's not funny, then I want it to really inform the characters, move the story along, tell me something. And I don't feel like that scene, and to my taste, a lot of other scenes really did that. I did go into it with some apprehension, but anytime somebody recommends a movie on here, and it's something I haven't seen, already I want to do it. I like to watch stuff I haven't seen before, and now I can cross it off my list. Like never being punched in the face before. We can cross this off now. It's something I've experienced. Thank you, John. Andrew, as we get to the end of this thing, so earlier I asked you about a moment you bombed. Could you get into a moment that was a real proud moment for you or a big win for you on stage performing?
I would say the wins are when you could tell the audience is just into it. I think one of the best gigs we've played as a band was we did a wedding like about a year and a half ago. It was actually our first gig with the current lineup for the cover group.
For Rebel Scum?
The Rebel Scum, yeah. And I have to say, like, it's really satisfying when you're playing a song that's meant to make people dance and they dance. Because most of the time when we play gigs, almost every show we play, we're playing at some type of brewery or some type of eatery. Every once in a while, people will, there'll be like kind of a dance floor area, and it's always nice to see people get into it. Listening and moving along with the dance songs instead of just sitting there and like eating with their friends and stuff. Where your background noise, it's nice when people are actually kind of grooving along, you know what I mean?
What's your favorite song to play?
We recently added Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles. That seems to be a crowd pleaser. I do like to play Love Shack, even though for bass it's really, really simple. And we also play the song You Spin Me Round.
Nice.
We don't have like heavy synths and stuff, so we play it kind of like more funk. Oh, and You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette, because like that's a jam on bass, so it's fun for me to play.
I don't think there's going to be any other opportunity for me to share this in an episode. It's particularly germane to this one. There is a group called Loomis and the Lust. They were not huge, but regionally in California, they were doing pretty well in the aughts. And I saw them practicing at a laundromat. At the time, I didn't realize, like, they played Electric Feel. And I didn't know that wasn't their song. Because that was the first time, for whatever reason, that I had heard that song. So when they played it, I thought it was their song. And I dipped my head into the laundromat and complimented them. And looking back, I'm so glad I didn't say anything that was explicitly, that was a really good original song you just played. But I know the way Loomis looked at me, it could be interpreted as, and rightly so, because implicitly that's what I meant, but he kind of gave me a half smile, and I think it's because he realized I thought that was their original song. Have you ever been playing and had people that just were clueless and actually thought any of this stuff was your original material?
Not really, because we make it pretty clear that we just do covers. None of the music I have written has ever been performed live, so if they ask me about it, I just point to whoever wrote it. That's the guy you want to talk to.
Since you do currently participate in an active band, any social media for your band you'd like to plug?
Yeah, actually. The cover band is on Instagram as Franco Rebel Scum, one word.
It is a reference to Star Wars, I take it?
Yes. I didn't come up with a band name, but the people who are in the band are all big Star Wars fans.
John, do you have any final words for us about any of these movies that aren't Spinal Tap?
I do love Spinal Tap, but I think I'll agree that maybe Llewyn Davis was the best one.
Oh!
I don't remember who said Llewyn Davis was the best one. I didn't say that.
Might have been. I'll say it's the second best choice.
Let's not backtrack. If you're going to say it was the best one, what makes it the best one to you?
It's a complete film. I love Spinal Tap, but it is, at the end of the day, just a comedy.
Whoa, don't denigrate comedies.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Comedies can be high art.
Yeah.
They deserve Oscar nominations.
Ah, so you are defending Spinal Tap.
No, I never said Spinal Tap.
Sounded like you were.
Hey, didn't you hear me say comedies, John? I said comedies deserve more accolades.
And the comedies I was specifically referring to is Spinal Tap.
No. In my VHS rental store, when I write comedy on a piece of colorful paper and stick it on a shelf, Spinal Tap is not going to be one of the VHSs in that section, is what I'm saying.
Well, A, your VHS rental store is going to fail.
It's going to be in my bargain bin section where I'll pay you $5 to take it off my hands.
Yeah, you'll definitely go out of business because I would absolutely go and get paid $5 to watch this movie again.
I'll rent the shit out of that movie.
Give me some money. Give me some money.
You've reached the end of this episode of The Screen Companion. Thank you for listening.